Lamb to the Slaughter, a review. Lamb to the Slaughter by Roald Dahl is an amazing story. Let me tell you why. There are several clear reasons that every story writer should take heed of. First, the character of the wife is well developed. She is a loving woman, but also kind of sad and lonely, and a baby is on the way, which only makes her situation sadder. She lives a rather lonely life with her things and her unborn baby, and the only thing that gives solace to her aching heart is being with her husband again. She is loving to a fault, in fact. She belongs to the subspecies of woman whose hearts dominate over their minds and who is so trusting of the other person and the world in general that she is always teetering in the edge of disaster due to her unhinged good-heartedness. Second, the build-up to the moment of the strike is amazing. The way the husband says, "Sit down," a couple of times in a stern and aggressive way deeply contrasts the wife's loving expressions. The way she goes overboard to make him feel happy and relaxed, despite being repeatedly ordered to sit down, makes you feel sad for her. Furthermore, after the husband gives her the bad news, the way the words characterizes how she takes in the revelation is simply phenomenal. It paints the picture of someone whose floor had just gave in from underneath them. The way she moves automatically and her mind becomes blank, she doesn't cry or get angry, but simply goes on into a state of limbo. She was so heartbroken, in fact, and she felt hit with an icebox so left of field that her mind literally froze and the involuntary nervous system took over her body as she proceeds towards making the supper. For some reason, she reminded me of Colin Firth's character in the movie Love Actually, where he is in so much love with his wife that he is crushed when he returns home unannounced one day to find his wife sleeping with someone else. The third, of course, is the moment when Mary hits her husband with the lamb's leg. Actually, what's fascinating about that is not necessarily the moment that she hits him with the leg, which of course is amazing due to its shock factor, but what follows from there on is what is truly fascinating. The rapidity with which her character moves into that of a serial killer is simply outstanding, and this creates all sorts of thought processes in the reader. What is she going through? What is she doing? What is she thinking? What will she do now? As I said earlier, she was the kind of person who was moved by feeling more than thought. Now she became the exact opposite. She became a thinker. Her thoughts became clearer than ever before. It's amazing, being a detective's wife, how she managed to apply all the things she unconsciously absorbed from her husband's work to clearly articulate how she should act in order to make sure she gets away from the situation scot-free. The way she creates an alibi with the person at the grocer, how she manages to stumble upon his dead body on a course and cry genuinely in a planned way. It would not be remarkable if it was done by a veteran serial killer. It is special because it happened in a quick succession of events after the unbelievable turning of the wife's character within the span of a few moments. That's what makes the succeeding events entertaining and the deft handling of her expression and speech more interesting than would have been if it was similarly conducted by a criminal mastermind. Finally, of course, the amazing part of the story is also how she persuades the cops to eat the lamb's foot, the very thing she used to inadvertently kill her husband. Was she stupid to do so? Or was she brave or smart? You can argue either way. Perhaps she got so confident that she became cocky. Perhaps she worried so much about the future of her baby, the fear of her going to prison got dominated by the need to escape the predicament for the sake of her unborn child. Either way, you cannot deny the twist that it creates, and the sweet irony towards the end when they all talk about the murder weapon when they are eating the damn thing right then and there. The way she giggles at the end just sends shivers down the reader's spine. Because with such few words, the author manages to capture the internal mental state of the wife. She is gone. She is beyond redemption now. Something profoundly awry has taken place inside her. This is a supervillain origin story. She has become the Joker. As a side note, I would say the portrayal of the detectives is quite naive. The first rule of detective work, I would presume, is that everyone is a suspect. I don't think they would be so carried away by the death of their friend that they would overlook Mary as one of the suspects, especially when domestic violence is a fairly common occurrence in the realms of criminology. Furthermore, some of them would surely have known about the husband's affairs and would have thought along those lines and looked at Mary through those lenses. All I am saying is that they would not be so childish as to be fooled by the acting of one lonely housewife. Moreover, the story doesn't mention them checking out the cellar and the freezer, where they would definitely have found another piece of the lamb's foot or something similar to it, and that would definitely be one of the candidates for the murder weapon. Regardless, these are just minor chinks to the plot of what is undoubtedly an amazing story.